Want to get a quick live in during my lunch break. Talk about God beliefs. Asa J, welcome back. Good to see you. We've got a few people in here. Thank you for the likes. I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, I got to be a lot stricter on TikTok policies. My live earlier this morning got restricted. Discussing regulated goods. So we won't be mentioning any regulated goods. Be a lot more careful about that. So, who wants to talk about their God beliefs? Appreciate the likes. See, what do we got? Thanks for coming in, everybody. Yeah, I am a non-believer and curious to what your God belief is. Thank you, Asa. Welcome in, Angelo, Lexi, Kentucky, Ribbler. Yeah, you're right, Chosen Master. You don't need to. I'm not asking anyone to convince me. I'm just asking. I'm curious. We already have billions of Christians. You know, there's billions of Muslims too. Does that make their belief true? Zach Man, thanks for the follow. Appreciate it. Welcome in. So newcomers, Fitz, Destiny, DJ Mac, Design Gal, Rita Schultz. Thanks for coming in. So more people coming in. Ali Gomez, thanks for coming in. Billy, it's changing a little fast. Maverick, thanks for coming in. Yeah, I agree with that, Chosen Master. And everybody's entitled to their belief. That's for sure. Definitely not here to change anyone's mind. John Q. Public. Well, anyone have any questions for me? Maybe we'll just go that way. Maybe I'll do an Ask Me Anything. What makes you an atheist? Thanks for asking, Maverick. What makes me an atheist is insufficient evidence. Oh, that's an interesting name. That's like Cyrillic or something. I can't read what that says. So, but welcome. Thanks for coming in just the same. All right. Well, we'll do this for the talks today. Usually I do it for the likes. How you doing, Lorenzo?
Yo, what's up? Peace and blessings, bro.
Thank you. Thanks for coming in. How you doing?
No problem. I'm doing good, man. I see your title. It says what your God belief.
Yes, sir.
Atheist is asking. So yeah, I'm gonna let you know what my belief is, brother. Christ is definitely on earth. I believe in God and I believe in Christ. I am not a Christian. I don't have no titles. I just believe in spirit and truth. So what man has done is they took the truth and they had discombobulated it to religion. So now the truth is on earth right now. That's why most of you atheists be on the right path, but they just don't understand the order of God. That's why y'all become atheists, because y'all know some bullshit is in the mix. So I don't look at y'all as like evil people. I look at y'all as actually smart, because y'all know something up. Y'all might not know the whole thing. So that's why I like talking to y'all, because y'all actually smart. Yeah, y'all actually smart, but you just don't know the truth. So my job as an angel is to communicate with you, so to see where your head is at, so I can help you on the road on your path also.
Yeah,
So
I got you. Okay,
yeah,
I
yeah.
got you. All right. Well, I got my lunch break, so I got to make this quick. But
Yeah.
what's your best reason that this is true?
Well, I mean, as far as like religions and stuff go,
Your
that.
belief. You
I'm
believe in
sorry.
Christ, God,
Yeah.
but you're not a Christian. Yeah, then you just lay it out
Okay.
for me.
Yeah. Christ is a man. Christ is a flesh and blood man. A lot of people
Okay.
think. A lot of people think Christ is some kind of spirit that floats around in the air. That's on where God is at. God is spirit,
Hmm.
but Christ is the man that hosts the spirit of God. So God's spirit has not been in the earth until now. We're in a generation of Emmanuel. So now the truth
Mm.
is being, yeah, that's why all this stuff is coming out. That's why nobody can hide no more. P. Diddy can't hide no more. All these celebrities, they cannot hide because the spirit of God is on the earth right now. And God
Mm.
is showing everybody that they can't hide. So that's what's going on right now. But people don't see that.
Mm.
They think it's a weird coincidence that these things are happening. But no,
Okay.
it's not a weird coincidence. Christ
Okay.
is on
Well.
earth walking with God's spirit. So
Okay.
these lies cannot prevail. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Well, how about this? So you say it's not a coincidence. So there's a link here. So here, link it together for me. What's the link?
The link is that you could be an angel and not even know it. You could be an angel. Let me repeat that. You could be a
Okay.
whole angel and not even know it. But if you
Hmm.
don't find the truth for yourself, you're not going to even know if you're an angel. Remember, the devil deceived the whole world. The devil didn't deceive 3% of the world. He didn't deceive 50% of the world. The devil deceived the whole world. The devil
Okay.
is the devil is the god of religion. The devil teaches
Hmm.
the Bible. Listen, the devil teaches the Bible. The devil
Hmm.
teaches religion. Only thing
Hmm.
Christ do, Christ revealed the truth of his Father. That's what Christ do.
Hmm.
And by the way, Christ is the only one that can teach the book because he got the keys to unlock the book. The book is
Okay.
85% allegory. Yes, the book do belong to us. The book is from Africa, the Solomonic dynasty. Look up the Seeds of Magdala, 1868. This is what's going on now. But they distracted you with all this alien stuff. They distracted you with all the bull crap and the social
Hmm.
media. They distracted you in the world, man. But I'm here to let you know that the Spirit of God is on earth. The only way for you to get the Spirit, you have to find Christ. I'm going to put it in the comments right now where you can look up
Okay.
yourself. Yeah, so you can look this
Absolutely.
up yourself.
Okay.
I am not here to
All right.
convince nobody. I'm just here to let you know the truth. This
Well,
is
I
the
appreciate that, Lorenzo.
yes, sir. This is
That's what I'm
this is
looking
the
for.
there you go right here.
Thank
Do
you,
your
Maya.
own do your own research
Okay.
and look at the Seeds of Magdala, 1868. Remember, at one time we ruled the world. Black folks, at one time we ruled the world.
Okay.
And it wasn't that long ago. And guess who stole our shit?
All right.
The Roman Catholic. How do
Okay.
you think they got all that stuff in the churches?
Yeah.
That's all our stuff, man.
Okay.
Yeah,
One more question.
yeah, man. Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah, one more question. Like I said, I don't have a
It's
lot of
deep.
time, so I want to give as many
It's deep,
people a
bro.
chance as possible.
Yeah,
All
it's
right.
deep though. It's deep, yeah.
Okay. All
Yeah,
right.
it's deep.
So this email address. So we send an email there, and then we'll get information.
Yeah,
Judah at
Judah.
change.org.
Yes, sir. What his
Okay.
job is, his job, I'm about to be finished right now. His job is to judge the Pope. The Pope is the devil. The Pope is sitting in Moses' seat. Christ
Okay.
was sitting in the seat where the Pope is at. That's Christ's seat.
Okay.
Okay.
Got it.
Okay, yeah, now we on somewhere. So
Okay. And
the
so
Pope is
so he'll have information that demonstrates this.
Yeah,
Got
but
it.
listen, Christ comes on TikTok. We have councils on TikTok where you can learn more stuff. Yeah, we're on TikTok, man. There's many angels waking up right now. And as the angels wake up, we wake up the other ones. So just be on TikTok scrolling, and you're gonna see the council of Christ. God use Judah.
Okay.
So peace
Okay.
and blessings, man. Nice to meet you, sir. Make
Yes.
sure you friend
Thank
make sure
you,
you friend
Lorenzo.
me. Make sure you friend me so you can if you have any
Okay.
questions or anything, yeah, hit me up, bro.
Okay. That sounds
I'm here
good.
for you. I'm here for you, brother.
Right
I'm
on,
here for you.
Lorenzo.
Yes, sir.
All
No
right.
problem, man. Hey, peace and
Have a
blessings,
good
everybody,
day.
to the room, man. Yes,
All
sir.
right.
Thank you, man.
Have a good day.
Yes,
Take
sir.
care.
Yep.
All right. Well, I'll look up that email address later. It'll come in my live stats because I get I get a log of all the messages everybody sends in chat. Very interesting. So he claims that Yaju Judah at change.org has information. So we're going to be looking for that. But Lorenzo, if you're still here, be sure to friend me, and you can come back on. We can talk about it more. Okay, let's go Mia or Maya.
Hello.
Mia, how you doing? Thanks for the follow. Thanks for coming up.
Basically, I just wanted to ask a question because it was specifically to Lorenzo, but he already left. Because I was just mostly like confused because I was looking at like the Bible because like he was talking about like the history of the how Black people had to do with like the Bible. I believe that's what he was talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
something like that. Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
But personally, for me, I don't think that specifically just like Christianity is Black people's religion. I personally believe that we were only taught that when we were in the transatlantic slave trade, and like they had slave Bibles that they would read to us because obviously they didn't let us read and write. But my personal thing is that there's so many scriptures in the Bible that kind of like justify slavery in the Old and New Testament. Mm-hmm. So it's just, that's one of my personal things with the Bible. I just don't support it morally. Like, it's just there because with the theory of how we came here, that's still something I'm working to learn about. But when it comes specifically just to the morals of God and the way he acted with the Israelites and people in general, I just can't get behind that. Like, even simple like Bible verses, like, have you ever read 1 Timothy chapter 6, like the first 2 verses?
I have. I don't know them off the top of my head, though. I don't know it by heart, though, but I have read it. Yes.
Yeah, it was just like the summary that was basically like, the summarizing is just like, oh, basically, if your slave did something wrong that deserves a beating and they know what they did is wrong, they get a harsh beating. And if a slave did something that deserves a beating and they didn't realize what they did is wrong, they'll get a light beating. And it's like it says servants or slaves depending on their translation, but it's like the way that like they're literally preaching to beat your slaves or servants. Even though it doesn't even matter if they're indentured servants or slaves, that's still just inhumane to beat someone for something, even if they knew that they didn't know what they were doing is wrong.
Yeah, that's true. And I think the one thing is that's the issue of slavery in the Bible. There is a lot of, at minimum, contradictory stuff in there. And that a lot of people will use to say, well, it wasn't condoned by God because we have these passages here, but then there's the other passages like Leviticus 25, Exodus 21, I think
yeah, Exodus 21. Yeah. And it's just really sad 21. To see like Black people just holding on to this like so hard, even though it's like not our history. And it's like, this is the very thing that like they wouldn't even let us read the own Bible. It was a simple slave Bible that they would read to us. Good God forbid we would literally like know how to read and write. Like that's just actually so sad.
Yeah, that's actually one thing I'd like to get my hands on is an old copy of the Slave Bible, because I actually have not read that, and I would be very interested to see what that says. I've heard, I've read of books that described it, but I've actually never read it for myself. And not that I don't believe there is one, it's just I want to see it, because I think I would get that full experience, if that makes sense.
Yeah, someone said that like it's about perspectives, but it's really not, because I believe also in 2 Timothy it said that he left the Bible as a guidebook, so it's not his perspective. Like this is specifically left for us to lead our life by, and you can't say that like, oh, when it was reading about slavery, it was a different time period, because in Deuteronomy 4 verse 2 it says not to add and subtract from the Bible, and also says that in Revelations 19. So in the New and Old Testament you can't add or subtract anything from it. So if it says slavery is okay, like 4,000 years ago, that means that still applies to this day.
That's true. There's a lot of philosophical arguments around, like around morality that talk about that. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Well, hey, Mia, any last thoughts? I want to move on to the next one. I don't have a lot of time. It's my lunch break, but any last thoughts?
Like that like conversation was specifically for like Lorenzo, but he already left. So I was like, but thank you for having me up here. Have a good day.
Yeah, you got it. Yeah, have a good day. Thanks for coming up. Take care. So yeah, interesting points you brought up. I just want someone to let you all know that you may want to. Some of your comments are filtered, like Billy Borden. Your comments are being filtered. So just want you to know that it's not me, it's TikTok. So I don't quite know why, but okay. All right, let's go to real. Oh, it's like real did not want to stay. All right, we'll go through some of these comments here real quick. So, eBay has many. Are you talking about slave Bibles causing nightmares? There's slave Bibles on eBay? Man, I guess I wouldn't be looking for a slave Bibles. I wouldn't know. But yeah, I'll have to check that out. No disrespect, but every atheist I've met in person or worked with has been lazy. There is a pattern. How many atheists have you met, Billy Borden? Milk Bones? $30 on eBay. Slave Bible? Really? You can never find what you're not looking for. Make that make sense, Billy Borden. You can never find what you're not looking for. That's why you'll never know the freedom in Jesus. Well, that's quite a claim. How do you know that Jesus is real? I'm a Christian. Okay, Theodore. I have copies of all when I was researching. Don't have to believe in God to realize Revelations is unfolding in the country right now. How do we know that? Boy, these are a lot interesting, very different takes than this morning. Read it. Revelations is proof. I've read Revelations many, many times. How does that apply to today, though? Slavery was banned by Christianity before anyone else. Well, that's great. But a lot of Christians had slaves too. So because they banned it doesn't mean they finally did the right thing. Doesn't make it right. And then when I don't know how to say your name, but whatever that is, about Revelations. I mean, in which Bible? I've read them in several Bibles. So which one are you talking about? They did it before anyone else. Why aren't you going after them? Well, probably because Christians did it better than anyone else. How you doing, Anthony?
Hey, how's it going?
Good. What's going on?
I've kind of voyeuristically listened in on your your lives quite a bit, so
Oh
I
yeah?
feel like I feel like I got a pretty good sense of how you kind of tackle things, and I know
Okay.
I'm probably not the first person who's told you, but I don't know, I really appreciate your civility, your kindness, your curiosity, your respect. It's
Oh,
just something.
thanks.
Yeah, it's one of those things where, as you probably know, just going through the TikTok sphere, there's just a lot of animosity, tribalism, my way or the
Yeah.
highway, and argumentation, and arguably childish behavior, which, I know it's a judgment, but it's just what I observe.
You know what's interesting about that was somebody mentioned that in my live. It was either this morning or yesterday, and they said that there was somebody playing music over somebody trying to talk,
Oh,
and
man.
I'm like, I've never seen that before. And wouldn't you know it, I'm scrolling through the feed right after that, and there was somebody there was a video in the feed of somebody doing just that. I'm like, how about that? And then that is rude. That is disrespectful. So yes, I totally understand. I totally get you. I don't espouse or condone any of that. So I agree with you. I prefer a civil conversation like you and I are having.
Yes, I
Yes.
concur.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I just wanted to maybe break down where I'm currently at with my
Okay.
God belief. I feel like
Okay.
it's been quite a journey. But I mean, really quickly, Gosh, I was brought up in the evangelical church. I
Mm-hmm.
sang in front of the church for like 15 years. Was definitely kind of indoctrinated at a young age, and full stock, took everything up literally. And
Yeah.
just through the progression of going to school, going to college, learning and living more life, and just reading lots of books, you just
Mm-hmm.
encounter a smattering of other texts and philosophies and ways of seeing things, and you're
Right.
like, man, this seems like a very narrow conception and container to define God. And so I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, I dipped my toe into atheism for a little bit, but there was a certain sense of kind of polar opposite sense of not certainty, but maybe it was a certain sense of certainty coming from certain atheists only, and that's probably more of like a personality thing rather than a terminology thing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so I think that I've swung back into the middle, or stopped swinging maybe, and have kind of landed in a state of kind of perpetual agnosticism, where I'm like, all I
Mm.
know for sure is that I don't know anything for sure.
Yeah, I'm with you
Um,
there. Mm-hmm.
and But it's interesting. I don't know if it's remnants of my kind of theological and religious upbringing slash kind of indoctrination. There is that lingering feeling of something beyond the cold and calculated realms of empirical science and observability that kind of gnaws at me from the perimeter of my thoughts and feelings. And so I
Mm-hmm.
think that I'm trying now to couch God within a very like kind of scientifically minded framework. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
like,
Mm-hmm.
I think I have to do away with the word God for me, because it's so convoluted, so kind of toxicified by my past
I
Christian
hear what you're
beliefs.
saying. Yeah, I
So
hear
I
what you're
think it's
saying.
more of like maybe energetic oneness, like not hippy
Mm-hmm.
dippy woo. I'm not trying to onboard any of that like spiritual stuff as far as like like kind of crystals, chakras, healing, XYZ, which is fine. Anyone wants to do that. I think they're all different ways of trying to understand or attune with oneness. But it's
Mm-hmm.
that feeling of, I do think and feel, even though there's no like verifiability on it any which way yet, but when you think about the hard problem of consciousness, I think that the hard problem of
That's a
consciousness
good
stems
point.
from the fact that there is a distinct difficulty in like the mind body problem of being like, where and when exactly does consciousness arise,
Mm-hmm.
and if does it turn on somewhere, or is it undergirding or a part of, almost like in like a panpsychist kind of idea where
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
consciousness exists within everything.
Mm-hmm.
It's just hard to know. And so I
Right.
guess where my God theory lands right now is maybe God just is the emanating energetic force that exists within the
Mm-hmm.
quantum foam that we can somehow, verifiably make some sense of, even though quantum physics is
Yeah.
its own insane thing that I barely understand.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm okay with like calling God that, even though mostly anyone who uses the term God nowadays would be like, yeah, that's not God. That's a very, very loose conception of what we mean by God. I'm like, well, I mean, that's me. We're all individual, subjective experiences in 8 billion different forms as
Right.
humans. So if I define it as the energetic, emanating force in the quantum foam, then that's what makes most sense to me, because everything else just seems hard to really, stick to.
Yeah, I hear that, and I think
That was a lot. That was
from
a lot, but thank you for listening.
oh no, no, you're good. You're good. And I, from my perspective, I think if you take a confidence scale and say a believer who is 100% convinced that God exists, and then maybe take someone who is 100% sure God doesn't exist, like what you were saying. We've kind of seen both ends of the spectrum.
Right.
On that scale, I put myself at a 5 that God exists.
Mm-hmm.
I'm about 5% confident that God exists. And
Mm.
the things that you've mentioned, like consciousness, that I've said this before in my lives, we can measure some parts of consciousness, like whether or not we're in a coma, right? That's pretty easy. Whether or not we're
Mm.
awake or asleep, that's pretty easy. But what about other parts of consciousness? Like, am I really conscious right now? You know, are you part of my dream? Do you really exist? Like, if you ask me, Trust, prove that you're awake right now, I couldn't do it, right?
Right.
But there's everything that tells me in my surroundings, everything tells me I'm awake right now. And then there's other things like, where do thoughts come from, right?
Right.
You know, where do they just originate? Where do they come from? And you know, there's these abstract things that we don't have a lot of answers for. And so, who's to say that God, the concept of a God, is one of those abstract things? You never know. And so, I can't say that there's a definitive proof that God doesn't exist. I mean, it's hard to prove a negative, but on the other hand, the evidence that is there, you know, my journey in many ways sounds similar to yours. And so it just, you know, when I look at it in different ways, I've looked at it empirically, I've looked at it ontologically, I've looked at it teleologically, I've looked at it in all these different ways, and it just doesn't add up. The math ain't mathing. And that's where I'm at. Yeah, that's where I'm at. Let me ask you this. And I apologize. I don't have a lot of time today because I'd love to get into it more, but
I can always come on later. I know you're on.
Absolutely. We can make it we can make it a part 2. So, and I take notes too, so we can pick up wherever we leave off. Cool. So, what would it take for you to, wherever you're at on that confidence scale, and you can share with me if you want to, but it's not important that you do. I get the gist. You're agnostic. You know, I feel like it's somewhere in the middle. But what would it take for you to increase your confidence that God exists? And then the other side, so it's a 2-part. And then the other side, what would it take for you to decrease your confidence that God exists?
Would you, in the first question, to increase, would that be confidence towards a conception of God that I kind of spoke to you about? Because for me, there's nothing about like in my mind, the narrow conception of like an Abrahamic God. The confidence is fully lost. It's like this is too narrow of a container. I would say I think it's pointing at something. I think all religions, you know, Hinduism, Abrahamic faiths, Buddhism's humanistic, so maybe not, but it's still pointing at a similar idea of consciousness. I think they're all kind of circling. They're trying to make with their own cultural and linguistic devices and their own socially and culturally manifested ways of looking at things in their time and place, making sense of what their existence is. I think it is trying to all get back to I want, if I ever write a book about this, the title would be "There's No One Way to Oneness."
There's no one way to oneness. You better patent that or trademark it fast so that nobody steals it from you. Yeah, trademark that fast. I won't take it, I promise. But yes, because now it's out in the TikTok world, man. So
where if you think about like when I think about God, I think about oneness, and what oneness means to me is kind of in that more Eastern philosophy. Stepping outside of your duality while you exist within it, even though it's like a weird mental paradox. It's like how can you observe your lower level body systems, ego states, emotional gunk, and all of your thoughts that are kind of existing in your homunculus brain space, pulling levers and stuff? How are you able to, you know, that metaphorical higher self where it's seeing the unity of it and getting the forest from the tree's perspective, that level of kind of oneness within the duality, that to me feels like, and when I say feels like, there's like this intuitive knowingness that feels like it feels closer to truthfulness rather than further away. But at the same time, I can't empirically verify that to you. And in my mind, that increases my confidence, but it only increases my confidence. It doesn't increase my confidence to convince someone else that it's truly true. Do you know what I mean?
Got it. That makes a lot of sense. And I would frame that in the respect of, you know, increases your personal confidence, and maybe not enough to go out and start telling people about it. Yeah. So I get that. And then on the other side, like what do you think you would like? What would come across your nose that would say to you, yeah, this concept of a higher power. Can we settle on that term, higher power?
Sure.
Like,
Yeah.
singular consciousness. Okay, so like this entire concept of a higher power. Yeah, this isn't doing it for me. Like this takes me closer to trust but verifies territory. If not there, what do you think that would be?
Probably some insanely dimensional beings that zipped out of the fourth or fifth, whatever. I don't know how many, we can't even verify what kind of dimensions and nature of reality
Right,
is, but it's
right,
like the idea
yeah.
of like, you see all these kind of, I'm not by any means conspiratorial, but when you see all these like
Mm-hmm.
potential leaks and sightings of UFO things, it could all be just super high tech, behind the scenes military
There you
industrial
go.
complex stuff.
Yeah,
But
military stuff.
but
Yeah,
but
exactly.
but if there's some kind of insanely physics manipulating being that's looking at us like ants, or just monkeys just being stupid and trying to kill each other, like
Mm-hmm.
if they just came out of the ether and fully presented themselves, not in some kind of like, oh, it was late at night and I had this dream state and I can't verify it but it felt real. Like, no, I don't want to poo poo other people's like extraterrestrial experiences, but the
Right.
evidence is still so like kind of fleeting and ephemeral, and like, oh, it's just so convenient that it's always at night, it's so convenient that it's blurry, it's so convenient that the evidence seems
Right.
just so kind of
Right.
slippery still with all our new
Yes, exactly.
technologies and our cameras and
Exactly.
our way of capturing. If there was full fidelity, like mass captured, not AI, manipulated, generated content where everyone's like, all right, this giant thing is here, or this entity is here, and it's talking to all of us, and it's not just talking to government officials behind the scenes, then I'd be like, okay, my whole paradigm is shattered and fractured in a way that I'm just going to now listen to this being who apparently has some kind of higher cosmological understanding of what's going on, and be like,
Yeah.
can you teach us, some stuff, because
Yeah.
that's worthy of shattering all our paradigms. And so we're not just kind of duping ourselves into these human stories, and we're like, okay, all
Yeah.
right, you clearly are showing a mastery of all physics. How did you get there? How long have you been around? What are you? What is going on?
Yeah,
That
exactly.
would for sure shatter everything for me.
That
My
would that would do it
you,
for you.
yes.
And that's fair. That's reasonable. I think that's reasonable. And I think approaching it from the logical position that you're doing it, I have long said, well, recently I should say, I have recently said that, and I've long thought that the logical arguments for a higher power are the most compelling, even though they do still fall short for me. But to me, they seem to make, like, if you were going to make the case either way, I think that would probably be the way to do it. Aside from, of course, a physical what's the word? Physical evidence that you can't deny. You know, I think those are probably the two ways to do it. And
Yeah.
yeah, I don't think you get there by faith. You can't believe something into truth. Historical
Well, and
evidence.
you can't. And sorry to cut you off real quick, but it's the
No,
idea
go ahead.
of, I think that some believers feel like belief is a choice, and when you
Mm-hmm.
are like
It's true.
coming on this journey of accumulating more knowledge, information,
Mm-hmm.
it's like you can't choose to undo that like lack of belief in a certain direction. It's not like it's a light switch where you're like, I'm just going to choose to believe again. You can't like reveal your eyes to kind of almost like reduping yourself into a certain system.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, I don't think belief is so much of a choice as it is just like this kind of internal, subconscious, chosen veiling of truth, where
Right.
I don't. Did you say you grew up in some kind of Christian faith or came from a background? You don't have to
Yeah.
share if you don't want to.
I was
It's
raised Catholic and grew up Catholic and was going to go to seminary and all
Wow.
that. Took 4 years of Latin, took 4 years of theology in high school. Was talking to priests about going in the seminary. Took philosophy or majored in philosophy of religion. Yeah, oh yeah, yeah, yeah. The whole
Well,
nine.
so yeah,
So.
so it's like you can never, I can never, and you can never be in that more kind of adolescent knowledge state um
Mm-hmm.
again. And and exist in that same way of belief. Because I've had friends. I can. It's funny because you come on here and I listen to people converse, and I'm like, oh, I see this Christian person. They're using the same circular reasoning I was using 15 years ago.
Right.
And it's this thing where I'm like, I can't ever go back to that, nor do I want to.
Right.
And it's like, once you know what you know, not only do you know that you don't know barely anything, but
Yes,
yeah, this,
that
like, you know what I mean?
too.
The more you know about things, the less certain, the less kind of prideful, like righteous certainty you have, because you're like, geez, there's just so much to know. And
Exactly right. Exactly.
and now
Yeah,
that
agree.
you know that you cannot be in that same level of belief system, that same faith
Yeah.
system, because the knowledge that you have kind of ingested, it doesn't disappear. You can't reveal it. You can't redupe yourself into not seeing it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You've made some great points. But Anthony, thank you for coming up. I'm going to move on.
I know
Yeah,
your
because I don't
lunch
have
break.
time.
Yes.
However,
yes.
please,
I would love to
come
chat
back
again.
up. Yes. So let's chat more, because you brought up some good stuff, and we can kind of pick up where you left off, because I wrote some stuff down. So
I appreciate your lives, and I appreciate
thanks,
your energy
man.
and the way
I
you
appreciate
present
your
things.
support. Yeah, man.
Yes.
Yeah.
It comes from curiosity in the heart. I feel it.
I appreciate that. Yeah, and it does, for sure. All right.
Have
a good day, Anthony.
Rest of your day.
All right. Take care. Yeah, he brought up some good points. Okay, I think I have time for one, maybe two more, but depends how fast they go. All right. Don't worry about it. How you doing? Don't worry about it. Oh, he dipped. Okay, so we got a guest spot open, but here we'll go back through the comments here. Let's see what we got. We control life on Earth. Theodore, I think to a certain extent, yes, I agree with that. In terms of, we have some. I think maybe we in the destructive form. However, I think still Mother Nature's got the trump card. Ciprian. Hey, Ciprian, how you doing?
Hi, good evening or good morning.
Good.
Or I don't know how.
Yeah. Oh, good morning. Good morning.
Early. It's almost
good.
It's
almost midnight for you. It's 1:39 in the afternoon for me. So
great. So
yeah.
You don't forget to have a Friday meeting.
Yes, I did remember. I was going to ask you. I was going to send you a note in Discord later this week, but just the details of where I join, like where, like a link to connect and all that stuff. I'm sure you'll provide tomorrow. That. Okay, perfect.
Yes.
Yeah, I have that. I have it on my calendar. Yes, go ahead.
Okay. Yes. So I was listening the guy Anthony, if I remember was his name before.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to comment what you said, because I want to make an analysis. And you said you are majoring in philosophy, and it looks to me one issue I found quite often in theological arguments for God. I'm a strong atheist, so put my bias into consideration. But
yes.
Probably there is this distinction between analytic and synthetic.
Yes, analytic and synthetic. I was actually listening to something about that this morning. That is uncanny. Yes. So please go ahead. Continue on. I'll let you take the floor.
Yeah. So I want to say again for the public, the issue in the simplest way I can think of is that when you ask, is a thing true? The meaning of truth can have an analytic term value in philosophy, or a synthetic value.
Synthetic, yes.
Yeah, so when you ask, is it true that a bachelor, is he, let's say, not married? It's true because of definition. So this is an analytical statement.
Yes.
And it's true because of definition. And obviously there is the synthetic one, which you say, is it true that I have a cherry tree near my house?
Yes, and if if we see a cherry tree near your house, then yes, you have a cherry tree near your house. That would be a synthetic truth because it's dependent upon the cherry tree being at your house. Yeah.
Yes. So you are saying that the arguments for God, and quite many of them, excluding that some of them I think are really garbage. Let's put my bias aside. Quite many that are analytical.
Correct. And, I agree with that. And yes,
to me, it looks like God. It's a fancy logical construct, but this will not bridge. There is distinction between an is and an ought. It will not bridge to become a tree. And what I want to say is, for example, the value of infinity in mathematics. We can define it in very simple terms. It exists. I can say it's the closure of the function successor. I don't know if you understand what it means, but you mean if you add plus one, plus one, plus one, you reach eventually infinity.
Yes.
Yes. But in the same time, even the infinity and successor is very easy to define. We know in reality there is no infinity. Even the numbers of atoms are 10 power 80, if I remember right. The number doesn't mean it's correct. Let's say 90. But still, 10 power 91, we don't have anything in nature. We don't have infinity. So God could be infinite. So God, in fact, has many infinite attributes, analytically, how it's defined. But he can't exist in reality because of... So I'm saying that quite often I notice this argument because you said this is convince you the most. Like a God proven to you logically, it could exist for you. And what I would want you to challenge if you are trained in philosophy is that maybe God is it's an abstraction that works in some logical paradigm, and maybe it's a limit of logic.
Yeah. And I think Anthony and I were talking about that a little bit, that, how do we know that God could be an abstraction? Like thoughts, for example, thoughts are an abstraction. I consider them to be immaterial. And you know what? We can argue with materialists about that all day. But I consider them to be immaterial, and there's good arguments for that. And so if God is in the same vein as thoughts, immaterial or abstract, then it's possible. Yet, one of the things overarching, Ciprian, about what you're saying is, having been a philosophy of religion major, one of the things about, if you look at the scholars and if you break down their, you see the surveys of what religions they are, like what their beliefs are, it really is in line, the percentages are in line with the world percentages. Like most of them are Christian, then next are Muslim, then Jewish, then, right on down the line. And the important part to take from this is that, for example, if you had in an archaeology department, right, if you had, all of the scientists, the archaeological scientists had all different conclusions about, everything they're studying, we would consider that to be inconclusive, right? So that's one of the reasons why, when I look at philosophy of religion, there is no consensus. And that tells me that that this is all based on ontological, teleological, etc. arguments, and that there is not sufficient evidence to make a consensus claim, to support a consensus claim. On the other side of it, it's very interesting that there's still a lot of believers, because you would think that if there were not enough evidence for scholars, that they would wholly dismiss the idea of there being a God. Now, that could be bias. I don't discount that. I'm just saying that it's very interesting when you look at those numbers. That's all I mean. That's all I'm saying. And I'll take your thoughts on that, and then I'll move on to somebody else because I'm running out of time. But yeah, so I'll give you the last word.
Yes. No. So that was I noticed this. There are few arguments, definitely these ontological arguments, modal arguments, that I notice. I work with more abstract logics in university, and I know that some of them, I could grant you that this works, but it works in a limited system, like it would work, let's say, like in a 2D
Agreed.
system.
Yes. Agreed.
But the world is three-dimensional, if not relativistically curved.
Agreed.
So it will be like God will be on the 91st degree north. There is no nothing north than the North Pole or South. You understand?
Right.
So,
Right. Yeah.
So I quite notice this tendency, at least myself. So I see this kind of bias. So this is why I was surprised when you say you look for logical arguments, because it could be just a trait of logic. And
I just yes,
one comment.
It could be flawed logic. Yes. Go ahead. Yes.
And I promise this is the last one. Maybe you heard about Russell's paradox. You learned it probably in philosophy. Russell's paradox of logic.
Yeah, I don't quite. You might maybe type it to me in a message, because I can't quite understand what you're saying. But yeah, I think I know which one you're talking about. But yeah, Russell's paradox. Yes.
And based on his proof, there is another proof of Alan Turing, who is the father of computer science. Yes, and he proves that the Turing machines, all computers, there are what is the term undecidable, something like that. You can't decide. Undecidable, something like that. It's in English. And this is what it means. Even a God, an all-knowing God, could not know if a program would halt or not. Would it stop or not? And this is mathematically proven. So to me, this is also an interesting part, that at least we know some mathematics and some computers, that they work. I can say to you, we speak on one computer which works in undecidable, sorry for my English, theories and proofs. And this is for 80 years in mathematics. And I can't imagine an all-knowing God knowing if a program will eventually stop. Because and there are many kind of 20, 30 problems which derive from the same theory. Yeah. So this is why I said I'm personally not a fan of these logical arguments, because probably there is a glitch and it's quite hard to explain it.
Yes, I do agree. And I think what I was saying is that there are holes in all of these arguments, and yet there isn't conclusive proof. Now, what you're talking about, yes, there is. So honestly, I'm not well read on that one, so I'm going to have to read that one again and educate myself more.
But I can leave, just to say, please let me leave. I will leave the talk. Get someone else.
All right, but I'm looking forward to our talk on Friday. So I'm looking forward to that. Okay. That's going to be fun. All right. Thanks for coming up, Ciprian. See you. Take care.
Thank you.
All right. So thank you, Ciprian. Yeah, that's right. Russell's paradox. I forget about that one all the time. All right. I think I got about 10 minutes left, if that. So here, we'll go back through the comments. But yeah, Russell's paradox. That's an interesting one that Ciprian brought up. And I encourage everybody in chat to research that one. Because what he's saying basically is that if God can't predict when a computer program will stop running, then that pretty much says there is no God. That's a contradiction in the existence of God. Unless we think God is something else, if not omniscient. So that's what he's saying. So interesting stuff. And we say we're made in God's image, but again, how do we know that? Yeah, Alan Turing Halting Problem. That's right. The Alan Turing Halting Problem. I got to read that one again. I remember that being mentioned in computer science. You see, Okay. Because if I understand it, and you'll probably correct me on this on Friday, Cyprian, or maybe in chat, if I understand it, the halting is so random that nothing can predict it. Yeah, just that it's not omniscient. But then that would basically break a whole bunch of religions, Cyprian, if there's proof that God is not omniscient. Oh, somebody's car alarm went off. So that's the interesting part. But you should bring Cyprian. You should bring that to the Discord. You should drop that in Discord and see what people have to say. That would be a very interesting thing to go over. Yeah, yeah. It's just too random for any entity to predict it. Yeah. Which, by the way, I do have a Discord link in my profile. So if you guys are interested in taking these discussions off of TikTok and continuing the discussions, you're more than welcome to join there. Non-dualism and all that stuff. That is true. We control where life lives. So, all right. And there's another Discord pal, Formless Form. So Formless Form, there's the Turing's halting problem is about to be dropped in the Discord. So you might want to keep an eye out over there. I suggested Ciprian to throw it in there and see what people think. And knowing your background, you might be interested in talking about that. Hey. Yeah. So, more chat here. Okay, so something proven, nature's proven not false. And let's see what else we got in here. Physical frequencies. Oh yeah, Theodore's saying we're made in God's image. I'm not sure about that. Like I said, I am at the point in my life where it's going to take testable, repeatable, independently verifiable evidence of God's existence. That's what it's going to take. And see, an interesting thing is Ciprian, I think, is less confident than I am that a God exists. I think he's probably at 0, and I'm at about 5. And so there's gaps. And so while the halting problem is extremely compelling, again, I'm going to have to read up on it. So I'm going to. Okay, let's approve this comment by EA. Wrong, I'm not. I can move objects without touching them. Can you? That would be interesting to see. I even have video proving it. That would be very interesting to see. Formerly known, welcome in. Magnet. Yeah, I think I would have to see something like that, like in the flesh, like face to face, live. Isn't saying we are made in God's image the same as we are built from the laws of the universe? It could, but wouldn't you be equating God and laws? That would be my question, Formless. Wouldn't you be equating the two? And Formless, have you looked up perennial philosophy? I think can't remember if I asked you yesterday. Mercy lives. I can move coins with a magnet and a ring. There you go. Huxley. Yeah, that's right. We did talk about that. That's right. Huxley. Yeah. I should have just said Huxley, and then that would have triggered my memory. Yeah, I'm forgetting more things than I've learned at this point in my life. I think there's truth in it. Yeah, I had a guy on yesterday that was talking about that too. Okay. All right. This is going to be the last one, but it's going to have to be real fast. You got about 4 minutes, WLDB.
Oh,
Oh,
hi. How are
how
you?
you doing? Good, good. Yeah, I'm on my lunch break, so we got about 4 minutes left. So
Oh,
we'll just get
gotcha.
straight into it. Yeah. So real quick, what's your God belief?
I believe in the God of the Bible, coming from
Hmm.
an Israelite perspective.
Okay.
So, yeah. Sorry, I realized
Okay.
it's kind of broad. Would you happen to have any
Oh no,
questions?
that's
Maybe I
okay.
can
So
respond
from
to them.
from the
Okay,
Israelite
thank you.
perspective, yeah, I think I got an idea. Now, is that when you say the Israelite perspective, is that like the Talmud, the Torah, that part of it, or is it like strictly
Um,
that, like is like Orthodox Judaism, or
it's it's a full so-called Old and so-called New Testament, which includes the Torah. It does not include the Talmud or Babylonian Talmud at
Mhm.
all. So there
Okay?
are some similarities and then some major differences as well.
Is this similar to Messianic Judaism? Is it similar to that, or is that?
It's similar in a
Hmm.
way. There's wow. I mean, I guess with 4 minutes, it's a little
It's a little,
you know
yeah. There's
um
yeah. There's not much time we can dive into it, but
right. And no, it's fine because I just jumped in, so I'm pretty late.
oh yeah, yeah,
Um,
no, it's okay. It's okay. You're fine. And okay, so I guess it's not so much important to me which God it is. In a way it is, but I guess I'm more focused on your best reason why it's true, and then how you figured out it's true. So I guess I can throw those two questions at you. Like, what's your best reason why it's true, and then how did you figure out that this is true?
excuse me.
Yeah, you got it.
Okay. So, well, I guess in a nutshell, some things in history that line up with prophecy as well as things that were written that had already come to pass.
Okay.
There's one particular prophecy in mind. It'll probably just have to simply be for next time, but it
Yeah, sure.
includes a lot of details that heavily point or suggest at like the transatlantic slave trade. It
Mm.
describes very specific details, including actually naming a body of water for like ships that come and disperse people out in slaves, and it goes into some real deep nitty gritty. But aside from that, um, I had to do a lot of unlearning and relearning, and I still am.
Hmm.
I was raised Christian, which was just simply listening to the pastor but not questioning anything. But as I read
Hmm.
some other things, I just found a lot of things to either be not true at all for what
Hmm.
a lot of people do, or greatly exaggerated or out of context. And I know
Hmm.
that's man, that still doesn't directly answer your question.
In a way, it does. Yeah.
Yeah,
So.
but I also try to learn about other religions as well. I'm grounded in mine, but I have no issues with hearing other people out, and I find some similarities and differences. But when I
Uh-huh.
learn details about some other people's gods and stuff, I'm like, this sounds very similar to what I'm reading about in this book or that book.
Hmm.
So I
Hmm.
don't actually deny the existence of other gods. I have a specific opinion about it, but that again will probably take more than a couple minutes, and I don't want to
Of
take your
course.
time.
Okay.
So maybe next time, but
Sure,
yeah.
sure. You want to? How about we finish it like this? Is there anything you want to ask me?
Um, shoot, right off the bat. Well, I guess I would like to know your perspective on. You know what? Nope, that's too long. So how about this? Were you always atheist? I guess we can start with that.
No, I was raised Catholic, and similar to you, heard a lot of things in the homilies. They call them homilies
Mm-hmm.
in mass, and then going to other Christian churches later in the sermons, hearing a lot of things. The math wasn't mathing, so just wasn't quite lining up. I'd go back, research later. Wait, this isn't right. That doesn't seem right. That doesn't. Yeah, that's not what I got from. It just was. It was. Yeah, and then I was gonna go in the seminary when I was 17 ish, 18. I had decided I was going to do that. I was talking to a lot of priests, When I went to my first year in university, I was majoring in philosophy of religion, so taking a lot of different classes about that. And then math still wasn't mathin', and essentially studying these other religions, because you do comparative religion study. Now, I didn't go in depth. Let me make that clear. As someone pointed out to me, I didn't go in depth. However, from what I read, there were very similar concepts, similar stories from religions that were existing pre-Christianity, pre-Bible, that were in the Bible, as if they had been taken from those religions and then just the names were changed, basically. Mm-hmm. So that was very interesting. But at the time, I was like, oh, that was that just further demonstrates the existence of God. They just didn't know what to name it. But then as time went on, again, that math wasn't math, and I just couldn't get the equation to add up right. And eventually, it just led me to this point where I just need evidence that's repeatable, verifiable, and testable. And and that's kind of where I'm at. Yeah. So.
Okay. Yeah, and everything.
Hope that answers your question.
Sense, so it does.
Okay.
It does, and I appreciate that.
Okay. Yeah. You're welcome. But I would love to pick this up another time, because what you said is you said a couple of interesting things that I'd like to explore. So would you be willing to do that? Because I'm on quite often, actually. So I'm sure you can catch me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome.
And I gave you a follow some days ago.
Oh, great.
So.
Great. Okay, so you'll know. And I wrote this down, like what you said, so I'll be able to refer back to my notes, and then we can pick up on where we left off. Yeah, man, I appreciate you coming up, though. It was nice meeting you.
Yeah, and you as well. Until then, take care.
All right, you too. Okay. So yeah, it's short conversations today, and because it's on my lunch break, but I will be back later. Man Bear Pig, you came in right at the end, but it's good to see you. So happy to see you, Man Bear Pig. But if you'd like to, for those who requested to get stuff, I apologize, but follow me and then request stuff the next time you see me, because I want to talk to every single one of you, and because I enjoy talking to people about this. And also, if you want to continue the conversation offline with other people to discuss things, I do have a Discord link in my profile. So if you have Discord, you can join the server and you can talk more about this, throw down your claims and your beliefs and your evidence and all that stuff. And, people will talk with you about it. So, all right. Well, have a good day, guys. Take care. Thank you, Man Bear Pig. And I will see you soon, Man Bear Pig, and the rest of you. So take care, guys. Have a good one.